Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Sweat Club. I'm so happy to have you all here. I have a few announcements. So, next week, the Sweat Club will probably be a recording as I am flying to the United States to go stay with my sister before the North Carolina retreat. And we're going to go camping for like 3 days. So, hopefully, I will be out in the wilderness. You will not be able to contact me, but my plan is to send you a class at class time. So there will be a class. I'm going to automate it because I'm a marketing whiz, and it will come into your inbox right before 5 o'clock. And so you can stick with your original time, or you can do it on your own time whenever you like. But I'll record it so you have that at 5 p.m. You can stick with your schedule. And for those of you who don't join live, it won't even be really a change for you. On that note, I am also celebrating this week because I did a count and I have had 28 people register for retreats this year, which is amazing and so surprising. And it might not seem like a ton to you, but for my first year doing this in my own business solo, it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you for everybody who is in that list of yes, we are going. I hope to have all of you one day. You are awesome. If you know of anyone that wants to come on a retreat, make sure you tell them that I will take care of them because I promise I will. So on that note, get excited. We have such a fun plan for today. We are going to start laying down on the mat. However, a caveat, we are going to change it up slightly. So instead of laying down on your back, you're going to lay down on your stomach. There we go. I forgot to pin myself. Now we're good. Okay. Come on to your stomach. Oh, as I mentioned to some people before we started class, my abs are really sore today. So if you hear me grunting and groaning, that is why. You can put your cheek, rest your cheek on the back of your hands, turn your head to the left side. If that isn't comfortable and it feels like too much on your neck, you can put your forehead on top of your hands. So two options, either just keep the head facing down, or I will cue for you to switch your head at a certain point as we get kind of this passive stretch on the neck, looking to the left side. And then wiggle your hips. Wiggle your legs and let your heels fall out to the side. Shut your eyes if they aren't already. And just let your body relax down to the mat. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Just relaxing. Allow the breath to help you surrender. Inhale gently. Exhale gently. One of my favorite things about yoga is that it teaches us to think differently. It literally gives us the ability to rewire our thoughts. So before we get started, I'd like you to just consider your thought patterns throughout the day. And what I mean by that is, how does your mind react when something goes really well? What thoughts do you have? How does that sensation feel in your body? Feels nice, hopefully. If your head is turned to the left, you can turn it to the right. Place the opposite cheek down on the mat or on the back of the hands, I should say. And then taking this journey from how you feel when things go well, when you're succeeding, let's ask, how do you feel when maybe you make a mistake? How self-critical do you think that you are? And maybe a good indicator is if you're being critical of how self-critical you are. It's okay, just observe it, be aware, right? And then last but not least, how do you react when you are challenged? Does challenge, the idea of challenge, have a good connotation, a bad connotation, or a neutral connotation for you? Breath in and out. Again, inhale, make the breath a little bit bigger, start to push your diaphragm down into your low abdomen. You'll feel that as the belly pushing down into the mat. And then exhale, you'll let the gravity, let your shoulders relax down. Take that again. Inhale, exhale. Once more, inhale, exhale. If you know Ujjayi breath, you can gently constrict the back of your throat. Otherwise, just try to stick with my breath as I cue it. So inhale again. Lift your head up off of your hands, and then we'll come to a Sphinx pose. So palms forward, and maybe you transition to Sphinx with the eyes still closed. Elbows will be a bit in front of the shoulders. Roll your shoulders back, i.e. retract your scapula, pull them together, and then pull your hands towards you. Maybe you can, like me, focus on the stretch that's happening in the abdomen, right? Upper abdomen, lower abdomen. With the eyes closed, gaze towards the center of your forehead, your third eye. So our third eye is our center of clarity, which is what we're going to be looking to cultivate today in class. Breath in. Exhale, slide your hands forward, your head comes down to the mat. So we're going to create a tiny flow with this, right? As you inhale, slide the hands up and back, the elbows backwards, pull the chest forward. Maybe you open the eyes now and open the throat slightly. And then exhale, slide the hands down and forward, release the forehead to the ground. Again, inhale up, lift, 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 Sphinx pose. And exhale, slide the hands forward, forehead comes down to the mat. One more time, inhale, lift up, Sphinx, and stay here as you exhale. Another breath in. And then exhale, roll over onto your right side, place your head in your hand and pretend you're lounging on the beach. Yeah, so your under leg, the lower leg, will be bent slightly, your top leg will be straight. Today, we are going to be working on our adductors, which are essentially the muscles we need to zip the legs into the midline. So to start, inhale, lift that leg up, and I want you to feel your abductors. So they are AD and AB. Abductors are all these bad boys on the outside that you should feel as we start to lift this leg up. Notice if you can make the butt cramp a little bit, you lift the leg so high, just hold and breathe in and out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, breath in. And exhale, lower the leg down and then try to straighten both legs. So legs are basically straight. Bring the knees towards one another. And now just try to squeeze your legs into the center. So we're doing the adduct. As you squeeze in, ideally, it shouldn't feel like too much, right? It's kind of hard to make these muscles engage, but you should feel everything in the inside of the thighs, the groin, kind of start to squeeze. Your glutes might even fire up to help you. Squeeze a little bit more for 3. If you're squeezing enough, you might be shaking a little bit. 2. Make sure your feet are alive, either flexed or pointed. 1. Breath in. And exhale, just relax. All right, bend in your lower knee. And then inhale, lift the foot up one more time. So left foot comes high, squeeze, find that kind of point on the butt, on the glute that starts to feel like it's going to cramp. Mine definitely is. Hold. And now we're just going to move in and out. The idea is when you come up, I want you to find that point and pause at the very top. As you exhale, come with me, take an exhale, come down. And it doesn't matter that the leg is bent. Try to squeeze your left leg into the center as much as you can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. All right, so inhale, lift up. Find that point of no return. Slowly exhale, come down and in, and now squeeze at the bottom. Push that leg down. Inhale up one more time. Exhale, squeeze down into center, squeeze, 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 and hold here. Maybe you can even take your left hand, push it into the thigh just to encourage this to push down. 3, 2, and 1. Relax. You're chilling on the beach again. Okay. Inhale, come back to center. And then as you exhale, roll over onto your left side. Same concept, head in the hand. If you're finding this isn't comfortable for you, you can always just rest your head on your bicep too. You don't have to put the head in the hand forever. I like it because it allows me to feel like I'm aligned a little bit more. Now, bend your lower leg. Hand comes to the hip if you like, or hand to the floor here, 2 options. Inhale, lift up, and try to find that point where the butt starts to cramp. So I can get my leg higher if I cheat. And by cheating, I mean I sort of roll the pelvis forward. And right now, if you look, I'm not doing it correctly. I'm just kind of using my pelvis. So ideally, the pelvis doesn't move. Only the leg extends and abducts, moves out, squeeze and hold. Breath in. Foot is alive, breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale, squeeze. And then exhale, lower the leg down, straighten your bottom leg, and we zip the legs together. So you might feel a little wobbly. This is a good one when you can put the hand on the ground, right? And now squeeze your top leg into the midline. So push that leg down. Your lower leg just kind of exists, but I want you to focus on pushing your right leg down to the ground. Inside of the groin should fire up, hold and squeeze. Breath in. Breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, breath in. And then exhale, relax. Bend into your lower knee. Now we'll move with the breath. Inhale, lift the foot up. Find that point of no return. And then exhale, lower the foot down. Squeeze at the bottom. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Knees towards one another. Inhale, lift up. So the cue is exhale, come down, but we don't take a break, right? We push down and then push. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Now keep that leg down and hold. Maybe you bring your right hand to the top of the thigh. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Release. Great work. Breath in. Relax. Exhale, come back to center, Sphinx pose. Bring your hands forward one more time. Roll the shoulders back. Open the throat slightly. And then exhale, fold down and in. Curl your toes under. Push yourself up to tabletop pose. Walk your knees towards you, I should say, and then take a seat on your heels. Brief broken toe pose today. A little different than I've cued it in the past. In this pose, if you can, bring your knees towards one another, then squeeze the legs into the midline. If you watch me, the difference is hilarious. Boop, squeezing, not squeezing, squeezing, not squeezing. So squeeze in, so you lift up off the heels slightly. If this is uncomfortable for you, you could be here too, and you're squeezing in. 2 different ways to do it. Hold and squeeze. 3. Legs into center. Adducting. 2. Yep, a little bit more. And 1, relax. Inhale, sweep the hands up, look up. Try not to hit a chair like me. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. You will plant your hands and just step to the top of your mat. Take your time getting there into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Retract the scapula. Exhale, fold. Take that a few more times. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Once more, inhale, halfway lift, squeeze. Exhale, sit your butt back, bring your hands to your hips, and then slowly come to standing as you inhale, hands by your side, Siddhasana. Walk the feet together, toes touch, sliver of space between the heels if you can. Otherwise, just find where you feel your thighs touching and you can start to hug into the center. So the same squeeze we were doing before, I want you to do it now. Think about everything hugging in. One of the cues actually will be a little bit to tuck the pelvis, because when you tuck the pelvis, you can squeeze the glutes and make those bad boys nice and firm as you hold into the midline. Now, keep your lower body as it is. The lower body should be engaged. And if I came over and poked you in the butt, I'd be like, wow, your butt is rock solid. That is amazing. Inhale, sweep your hands high. Keep squeezing. Don't let go. Exhale, squeeze as you fold forward. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Notice how the squeeze changes. Okay, keep squeezing. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Awesome. Exhale, bend in your knees. Keep squeezing. Plant your hands and step back. Maybe hop back to plank pose. Option to have the knees down. If your knees are down, you're doing the same thing. Hug the legs into the midline. Hug the ankles towards one another. Remember, the butt is squeezing, so you might even feel like you're tucking the pelvis. Stay here. Breath in and out. Inhale. Then lower down slow to your belly. 3, keep squeezing on the way down. 2, I'm not going to make us do this forever. Don't worry. 1. Inhale. Halfway baby cobra, no hands. Exhale, lower down. Let's take that again. Inhale, lift up. Maybe a little higher, no hands. Exhale, lower. Last time. Lift, squeeze, push the tops of the feet into the mat. 3, stay where you are and continue to breathe. 2, 1, and fold down and in. All right, curl the toes under. Push up to tabletop or plank. Remember, rules are, if you're going tabletop, take it nice and easy. Push up with control. If you're doing plank pose, curl the toes under, lift the thighs up first. Roll the shoulders back, then push up to plank. Exhale back. Everybody in downward facing dog. If downward dog doesn't work for you, reminder, you can always do tabletop. First downward dog of the day. Look forward and check on your hands. Make sure your pointer fingers are pointing forward, not your middle fingers. Widen the fingers and then press them down into the mat. The wider they are, the more balance we have, right? Breath in and out. Inhale. Exhale. All right, walk your feet towards one another or knees. And then inhale your right leg high. Pull the left hip back in space. Flex your foot. So instead of pointed, I want it flexed today. And we'll stay for a few breaths. If you can, sink the left heel down more. Think about internally rotating your thigh. So if you look down at your right thigh, you can kind of peek. Roll that right thigh in and then try to lift the leg. That's how we keep the hip closed. For one more breath in. Exhale, take your knee to your nose. Lean forward, push into the hands and step through low lunge. Wiggle that foot forward until essentially your knee is in line with your ankle. And then inhale, lift up, crescent pose. All right, first crescent of the day, right hip back, left hip forward. Now, we are going to change it up slightly. Bring your hands to your hips to start. Normally, I always say right hip back, left hip forward, right? Because it's a big shift. It's how we find that stretch. Instead, today, you do that first. Then try to pull your feet towards one another. So it'll be like a diagonal line down the center of the mat. What this does is it fires up those muscles in the inside of the leg and the groin that we're trying to work on getting some energy into today. So keep pulling the feet towards one another. Option to keep the hands on the hips. And then option to reach the hands high. I don't know why when I teach this, I like pull as hard as I can. So just so you know, I'm doing it too. My legs are shaking like crazy. Try to bend into the front knee, get lower and hold. Breath in. Breath out. Pull more. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep the hands down, frame the foot. Try to round through the spine and slide that foot up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high. Remember, your feet should be pretty close to each other, and then flex the foot. Look down at that thigh. See your left thigh. Roll the thigh inwards and then try to lift it as high as you can to ensure the hip is closed. Sink your right heel down. Breath in and out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Inhale here. And then exhale, knee to nose. Lean as far as you can. Shoulders past the wrists as far as you can get them, and then step through low lunge. Knee in line with ankle. Inhale up, crescent pose. Hands high to start, then bring the hands to the hips. So Q1, pull the left hip back, right hip flexor down and forward. Q2 is to now pull the feet towards one another in a diagonal line from your left foot to your right big toe. Try to scissor those legs together and see if you can't bring your awareness to all those muscles in the inside of the leg, inside of the groin. Option to take the hands high. Breath in and out. The more you pull, the more you should shake. If you're bored, pull harder. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Pull, pull, pull. Breath in. Exhale, sweep the hands down. Frame the foot. Try to round, push up and back. Downward facing dog. Walk your feet together so their toes are touching, sliver of space. Same thing, you might have thighs touching, just somewhere where you can feel like you're hugging into center. Hug to center and then inhale, come forward, plank pose. Option to take the knees down. See how I have to wiggle to get into my proper plank? That's fine. You might have to wiggle too. We'll lower slow, elbows back. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. Curl the toes under, push up to either tabletop or lift the thighs and try to get up to plank pose. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, bend in your knees, and very slowly you'll come to tabletop pose. Hover, hover, hover. Take your time getting there. And then eventually release down onto the mat. So I'm going to give 2 options. Option 1, actually 3. Option 1, you can take a seat on your heels. If that's comfy, great. Option 2, if you're like me and you actually really like broken toe pose, you can do this. Option 3, come to a regular seat. We're going to focus on the arms for a little bit. So something that's not too distracting on the lower body. All right. Inhale your arms up to the sky. And then exhale, touch your hands onto your shoulders. So the top of your hands come to your shoulders. We're going to start by making circles with the elbows. So inhale, draw your elbows towards center. Imagine you can touch them. Maybe you can touch them in front of the chest. And then as you exhale, roll them up, out, and around. Back as far as you can go and come back to center. So every time we do this, I want you to isolate the movement in the shoulders. There should be no wiggling of the spine, right? No, none of this. So tell the rest of your body to be cement and only move in the shoulders. Maybe you close your eyes. Inhale, sweep the elbows forward. Then slowly up and out to the sides. Exhale, down and back. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the scapula together. See how far back you can get the shoulders and then bring them back towards the bottom side of your body. Let's take it in the opposite direction now. Inhale, sweep the shoulders or the elbows back. So elbows reach back as far as you can reach them. Then widen out to the side. Create a big circle. Bring them up and towards the ears as you rotate the shoulders in. Touch them in front, right? So the goal is to bring them down to touch in front and then back to center. Perfect. Hands come by your sides. Shake it out. Breath in and out. All right, inhale, sweep your hands up. Exhale, bring your hands out to the side, a big T shape. So this is, we've done this maybe once or twice before, called nerve flossing. The idea is to pulse through the heel of the hand. I'm going to bring my hand closer to the camera. So if you look, I will be pulsing very little. If you notice, I'm kind of flexing my fingers backwards and my palms forwards without moving the arm very much. So very subtle, I might bend slightly in the elbow, but it's not here, right? It's here in the end of the hands. What should happen is you should start to feel the nerves in your hands essentially fire up, and you can almost feel the sensation draw up the arms and the shoulders. So keep pulsing and holding here. I'm going to make you do this for 10 minutes, and then your arms are going to fall off. Just kidding. Keep retracting the scapula. Maybe you can bring the awareness of the pulsing to the back of the neck and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, squeeze, and 1. Breath in. Exhale, hands by your sides, release. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. Uncurl your toes. If they're curled, tap them out on the mat. If they weren't curled, you can tap them anyway. Who doesn't love a good tap? Then walk your hands one handprint forward, curl the toes under, push up and back, downward facing dog. Remember, feet close together today. Breath in and out. Inhale, reach your right leg high. Flex or actually, no, just flex today. And then exhale, take your knee to your nose, lean, step through, low lunge. Inhale up, crescent pose. Just passing through this time, exhale, warrior 2. Spin the back heel down, gaze to the front. Find your warrior 2. Maybe check on the back foot, make sure it's either parallel with the back of the mat or slightly turned towards the top of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, sink on down. All right, now, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to cue it and we're going to do it. Once you're in your warrior 2, you're stable, right? You're fantastic. Your legs are strong. Now pull your feet towards one another. Pull them in without moving them. What should happen is everything in this inside should start to fire up. Once you start to pull, instant shaking maybe, and now is a good time to notice your thought patterns. Once you start to be challenged, right? So this is one of those markers. We are challenging you to stay and hold the posture. Stay and hold as you pull in for 3. Notice the thoughts that come up. 2 and 1. Perfect. Inhale, straighten the leg. Maybe sing, have a little dance party. Exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Wiggle your back foot in, 1 wiggle. So just a slight close of the stance, and we'll come to Trikonasana. Inhale, reach your right hand forward. Reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, bring that hand to hover on the inside of the leg. So reminder, you might be here, 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 here. You might even come down towards the big toe. If you have the big toe, shoulder back as you reach up. Now, a lot of times in Trikonasana, triangle pose, we push the feet away from each other. So try that first. Push your feet away from each other. And then think about rolling your left hip back. So that rotation comes from the hips as the feet push away. Keep looking up towards the ceiling as you extend through your top hand. Breath in and out. Inhale. Exhale. All right, now do the opposite. Pull the feet towards one another in triangle pose. As you pull them towards one another. Take a micro bend in the knee. So micro bend your right knee. Keep pulling as you micro bend the knee, and you're going to pull out of triangle pose. So you're literally using your legs to lift you out. Exhale, release the hands by the sides. We're going to do that one more time, coming down and pulling out. Micro bend the knee just to keep the knee safe, and it'll give us way more engagement in the legs. So let's take the hand to the hip one more time. Inhale, forward, lean, Trikonasana. Exhale, hand comes to the inside of the leg. Now, roll your left shoulder back and start to pull the feet towards one another. Micro bend in the knee, baby bend, and then squeeze your way up. So you're just going to squeeze the legs up, using your side body to lift as you extend. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Bend into the knee, warrior 2. Inhale. And then exhale, sweep the hands down. Maybe you want to do our cool move where we wiggle the right foot out to the side, lift the back heel off the mat. See if you can lift the right foot first, knee to tricep. And then exhale back, downward facing dog. Breath in. Feet are close together. Breath out. Inhale your left leg high. Flex the foot. Internal rotation in the thigh. Exhale, knee to nose. Lean as far as you can. Lean, lean, lean. And then step through low lunge. Inhale up. Crescent pose. You're just passing through again, saying hi. Oh my gosh, it's like a familiar friend. And then exhale, when you are ready, warrior 2, spin the back heel down, arms long. All right, so find your warrior 2. We are in a bit of external rotation right in the back thigh. Then bend down. Once you're deep and you're like, yes, I'm a fierce warrior, this is where the thoughts start to come up, right? When we start to hold warrior 2 a little bit longer, we're being challenged right now because I'm going to ask you to pull your feet towards one another without moving the feet. Pull enough that you can feel everything in the inside here start to fire up. Your groin, everything pull up and in, squeeze and hold. Breath in. Your legs should be shaking. Breath out. Inhale. It's even hard for my breath to be steady. It's shaking. Breath out. Once more. Inhale. Pull, pull, pull. Exhale. All right. Inhale. Straighten that leg. Wiggle the back foot in. Hands come to the hips. Inhale. Reach the left hand forward. Bump your hip back and come to Trikonasana. A reminder, your hand can be anywhere in this plane. Roll the right shoulder back. When you're ready, extend. First, push your feet away from one another. Think about rolling your right hip backwards as you push and open the chest, right? Because this is really in Trikonasana, we are rotating. Hold, breathe, inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, gaze up to your top thumb, exhale. All right, now we are going to pull ourselves out of it. So switch it, pull the feet towards one another, micro bend in this front knee, take a little bend in the left knee, and then pull the legs in. Pull in, pull in, pull in as you pull yourself out of Trikonasana. Squeeze at the top, and then exhale, release. Hands by your sides, bring them to the hips again. Breath in, and out. Inhale, reach the hands long, and then come to your Trikonasana, exhale. Take a breath in, bend into that knee slightly, and then pull the feet towards one another. Use that pulling to lift you up. Squeeze your butt, squeeze the legs in, hold. 3, 2, and eventually you'll squeeze yourself all the way up to standing 1. Whew. Standing, straight leg, triangle, whatever we want to call this. Resting, breath in. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale. Exhale, sweep the hands down to the inside of the foot, wiggle the left foot out to the side. Option 1, down dog or tabletop. Option 2, connect the knee to the tricep, lift first, then push up and back or push down to tabletop. Breath in. And out. Inhale. Exhale, everybody slowly lower with control down to your knees. Untuck the toes. Look forward and then elbows come back, lower down to your chest. 3, 2, 1. I made us do that on our knees because I love you and I didn't want you to do too much at once. So now lift up, Sphinx pose. Then clasp your hands together. Walk your elbows in. So you're creating a triangle if you look down. You've got your hands in the front, right? Elbows are the sides of the triangle. Now curl the toes under, lift up and come to our low plank. So at any time, if you're like, nope, Madison, done with you, just bring the knees down for a second, take a break, come back in. We are going to option 1, stay here, or option 2, as you inhale, rock the shoulders forward, exhale back. And you might also stay in Sphinx here. This is the other option as a reminder. Inhale, shoulders forward, exhale back. Once more, inhale forward, exhale back. And then lower down, we'll meet everybody who's in Sphinx. Hands will separate. Come back to your Sphinx pose. Breath in. And out. Inhale. Exhale, lower your head onto your hands. Release. Breath in. And out. Once more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift yourself up. Slide your hands back by your sides. And then push up either to plank or tabletop, nice and strong. And then we'll meet, if you're in plank, bring your knees down, we'll meet back in tabletop. So round 2, option to seat on the heels, option to seat on your butt, option to seat, take a seat, however you want. We're going to work with the shoulders one more time. So the idea is to feel more of the lengthening in the spine as we move this posture. So bring your hands together. I'm going to maybe get closer just so I can demo so you can see. So your hands are going to come together. Then bring them behind your head. So if you look, my hands are clasped behind my head, nice and comfy. Maybe your thumbs are pointing up the back of my neck. We're just going to stay here. Right now my ponytail is in the way. I might have to move it. You might notice, look how wide my elbows are. This is the opposite of what we're going to do. So I'll let you do the bad thing first. This is the bad thing. Good thing is hug in. So bring your elbows in towards your forehead. Great. Now, inhale, lengthen your spine. So literally try to make your spine grow longer by pulling your core up and in. Now, push your elbows up towards the ceiling while keeping them connected to the head. They might slide up. You see how in the back of your head, you've got skin that kind of moves here. Inhale. Exhale, relax the shoulders down and notice as the kind of skin on the back of your head moves with it, right? Inhale, push up, squeeze, push the elbows, forearms up to the sky. Exhale, back down. Last time, inhale, push up. And now push your head into your hands and your hands into your head gently as you push the forearms up. Lengthen the spine, pull your core in, hold. Okay, and I think we can do all this at once. I believe in you. Now try to squeeze your legs into the midline. Squeeze the legs in as you extend through the spine and push the arms up. 3, 2, and 1. Relax, arms can come out. Just take some big arm rolls. Letting the arms kind of release and relax after that. Shake them side to side. If you had your toes curled under, you can tap them out on the mat. We will all come back to tabletop pose. Breath in and out. All right, curl the toes under, push up and back, down dog, lead with the butt. Walk your feet together. And then inhale, look forward. Try to walk one toe print at a time, but keep the toes as close as you can. So it's really, if you look at your feet, be like, can my toes just touch one another? If your knees are bent, great. Your knees could be bent the whole way. You might be here being like, Madison, why? Why? Because I love you, that's why. And then eventually fold into Uttanasana at the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit your butt back, take your arms wide, push through chair pose, reach high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Hands by your side, Tadasana. Breath in. And out. Again, inhale. Exhale. All right, inhale, you will sweep your hands up and take a steeple grip. So steeple grip will look like fingers together, wrap the thumbs, then squeeze your biceps up by your ears. So you'll notice we're doing a lot of shoulder and arm work, right? Think about, again, lengthening the spine. So it's almost like how much separation could you get between your vertebrae if someone was pulling you up towards the ceiling? Inhale here, keep lengthening. And then as you exhale, bump your right hip to the side first. So right hip bumps, don't move your upper body. Then push your right ribs to the side. Then start to lean over to the left into a side bend. But the idea is extending through the side body. Now, one of the things that's really common in the side bend is to kind of let your butt like pooch out. Instead, tuck the pelvis. Try tucking the pelvis under as you move into this, hugging the legs into the midline. How many times am I going to say it? Probably like 9 million. As you squeeze. Now, if your arms are starting to be like, Madison, I'm tired. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Lengthen, lengthen. 3. How far can you go? Roll that right shoulder back. 2. And 1. Inhale up to center. Don't let go of the hands. Switch the grip. So it should feel weird. You're going to switch it and it's weird. I don't know why it feels so weird, but it always feels like your fingers don't align. That's fine. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, push your hip over to the left. Then push your ribs, side body over to the left. Then start to lean as you hug the biceps into the ears. Roll your left shoulder back, and then same concept. If booty is out, think about tucking under. Pull the pelvis under. Squeeze there. Legs into the center. All of these muscles firing up on this inside to squeeze the legs in. 3, 2, 1. Take a breath in. And exhale, come back up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release your hands by your sides. Close your eyes. Just feel the sensation in the shoulders and the arms. Breath in. And out. Once more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, sit your butt back, come to chair pose, hands high. Are your arms tired yet? Once your hands are up, a little bit of a variation in chair today. So remember, you can sit down and deep. Option one is to stay here. Option two, try to lift your heels up off the mat as you hug them in towards the center. So the higher you lift the heels, the better. I like to imagine I've got like a massive stiletto on, right? Hug your ankles in, hug your knees in, hug everything in. It was funny. I taught this morning in my public class, just this move. And my husband's legs were like, woo! So if your legs are doing that, that means you're doing it right. I was so proud of him. Keep squeezing and hugging. 3. Sit lower. 2, heels up. 1, breath in. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana, heels down. Maybe lift the toes just for the opposite movement. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank or tabletop pose. We're getting strong arms. We need strong arms, right? We lift a lot of stuff. Lower down slow. 3, 2, and 1 to the belly. Inhale, lift up, any back bend of your choice. Exhale, lower down. Now, I'm going to move away from the table because I might hit some things. One last shoulder thing that we're going to do. You've probably done these at the gym. We call them swimmers. We're going to do some swimmers here now. Think about moving in a pain-free range of motion. So if you feel any pinching, just lower the arms down and you might work from here, right? You might be sweeping here. Come with me, see what happens. Place your fists on the ground, thumbs up. Give yourself a thumbs up, fists are on the ground, thumbs point towards the sky. Head can be down on the ground for regression. Head can be up if you want to work on back bending. See what your body, see what your body doesn't want to do and do that one. Try and challenge yourself to do something different, a new movement pathway. So inhale, lift the hands up, thumbs up. Exhale, thumbs down and sweep the hands back. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Rotate through the shoulder and then try to give yourself knucks behind the low back without touching the low back or the glutes. Really challenging. Inhale, straighten the arms, rotate through the shoulders, rotate, rotate, rotate. Slowly give yourself a thumbs up again because you're doing such a great job. Thumbs up and forward. Breath in. Exhale, thumbs down, but that's just only for a second. That has no meaning. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Give yourself knucks again, knuckles together above the low back. Inhale, straighten. And then exhale, rotate, 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 back to thumbs up, lift and hold. 3, 2, 1. Hands down to the mat, forehead on top of the hands, close your eyes. Whew. Let the shoulders relax down to the ground, breath in. And out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, breath in. And then exhale, slide your hands back, push up or tabletop push up prep. Lift yourself up, squeeze, and back, downward facing dog. Right away, you'll inhale, look forward. Exhale, maybe walk, or you could try to hop while keeping your ankles together to the top of the mat and fold Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit your butt back, sweep your arms high, reach all the way to the sky, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Hands by your sides, Tadasana. Breath in. And out. All right. We are going to take that formation we did when we were seating and bring it to standing. So clasp your hands together, lift the hands up, and then you'll bring them to the top of the head. Now, my ponytail's in the way, so I just want to show you placement. You might have to move your ponytail too. The hands will be laced up on the top portion of the head. So if you look, it's not back here. Bring it up so the pinkies are almost parallel with the top of the head. Then hug the hands in. Option 1, try here. Why don't we actually all do this? Let's clasp the hands first so your wrists are touching the head. Nice and firm. You're still standing. Remember, hug the elbows in. So elbows are hugging into the midline. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. So same concept. Don't let your booty pop out. Try to tuck it under. So actually think about if I was going to come and you're trying to like a little bit hollow out the belly, try to pull the belly in, even as you lengthen the spine. So 2 counterposing actions, lengthen up, belly in, lengthen up, belly in. Bonus points if you lift your toes up off the mat, squeeze the legs into the center, push the forearms up to the sky, keep hugging in, pulling the core in. 3, 2, 1, breath in, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, release your hands by your sides. Shake it up. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, breath in. Exhale. All right, we're going to flow quickly, then move on to our peak pose, and then we're laying down. You've got it. I believe in you. You have control here. Now, as we move through this last part, it's a really good opportunity to see how you react, one, when you do things really well, right? This is that thought pattern. So I want you to notice when you nail something, how do you feel? Maybe allow that feeling to resonate in your body and remember it. When you do something that isn't the way you want to do it, I want you to notice that and just let it flow out of you, right? So when we feel like we're succeeding and it feels great, hold on to that sensation because you are succeeding. When something goes wrong, just be like, it leaves you with the next exhale. I know. Visualization as we move. Here we go. Breath in and out. Inhale, sweep the hands up, look up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank pose, lower slow. 3, 2, 1. There are no more swimmers, don't worry. Inhale, back bend of your choice. Exhale, lower. Curl the toes under, push up either plank or tabletop. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Right away, inhale your right leg high. Internally rotate the thigh. Exhale, knee to nose. Lean as far as you can and then step through low lunge. Inhale up, crescent pose, just like you did before. Our friendly crescent. Pull the feet towards one another. Exhale, stay where you are. Pull the feet. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, breath in. Exhale, spin the back heel down, warrior 2. Pull the feet in. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, breath in. Exhale, straighten the leg, bump the hip back, Trikonasana, reach forward, hand comes to the inside of the leg. Reach the hand high, breath in. Pull the feet towards one another, bend into the knee, and squeeze yourself back up to center. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Reach the hands long, warrior 2. Changing it up, try to come with me. Inhale, lift the back heel off the mat, turn your hips forward, sweep around a crescent pose again, hands high. So you just started here, right? This is something we've been working on in a lot of classes, and we are not going to change that today. Today is another opportunity to bend into the back knee. Lean the hands forward, look forward, power up, and then come to standing with the left knee up into the chest. Squeeze the knee in, hold. Breath in. And out. Inhale. And then exhale, sweep that knee back. Squeeze the knee into the midline. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Extend into a warrior 3. Remember, if you fall out, fall back in, as they say. Laugh. See how high you can lift your foot. Hands can come back. How high can you lift them? 3, 2, 1. Step back. One big step into crescent. Sweep the hands up. Exhale, hands come down. Frame the foot. Push into the palms. Lift up and back. Downward facing dog. Right into it. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Lean. Step through, low lunge. Inhale up, crescent pose. We hold for a full round of breath. Pull your feet towards one another. Fire up the inner thigh so you feel that sensation. Exhale. Inhale again. Exhale, warrior 2. Back heel comes down. Pull the feet towards one another. Breath in and out. Inhale, straighten the leg. Bump the hip back. Maybe wiggle the back foot in, Trikonasana. Pull the feet together. Breath in As you exhale, you'll bend into the knee, then pull yourself up and out of triangle, nice and firm and strong. Breath in. Exhale, warrior two. Lift the back heel off the mat, turn forward. It's gonna be harder because we're kind of on like a tightrope right now. You're welcome to step that foot wider if you like to prepare for this, right? Hands are up. Exhale, lean forward. So first lean, bend into the back knee to prepare, and then draw the right knee up into the chest. Hold and squeeze. This is that time. Notice your thoughts. When you fall out, how do you feel? When you come in, how do you feel? Breath in. Exhale, sweep, sweep, sweep. Lean, warrior three. Now try to lift the hands up as high as you can. Breath in. And out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And then very slowly bend into the knees, step back into crescent pose. Inhale the hands high. Exhale, hands come down. Frame the foot. Step the left foot back. Bring your knees down. Come to child's pose. Toes together, knees wide, forehead to the mat. Breath in. And out. One of the things we practice in yoga is aparigraha, or non-attachment. So technically, I should be telling you not to have any attachment to things that challenge you, successes, any of it. We just let it pass and flow like a river, right? But I find that when we are learning a new skill, it is important to celebrate our success. So take a second to celebrate the things that you did today, maybe a few things that surprised you, a few things that felt good in your body. If you're struggling to find those, just be aware of that. And maybe it could even be as simple as you showed up. And that alone is the biggest challenge. Next breath in, pull yourself back up to center. And then take a seat on your heels. So I will show our final pose for class today. Most of us won't try it at all, but I am going to cue it just so you can see it. So what we've been building towards all day, which is really funny because we haven't gone upside down at all, is a headstand, right? So you know all of the elements to a headstand. Elbows hug in, right? Hands to the back of the head, they'll clasp, and then you'll push into the forearm. So I'm going to demo it just so you can see. You might just want to stay here and play with how you would set up your hands if you were going to do it. Maybe bringing the head down to the mat. But I'll demo really quickly. I'll show you the movement up. Do not kick up into headstand. So if you are wanting to try headstand, we don't kick up because what happens is you can just go right over. So instead, I'm going to bring my hands to the back of my head. But essentially what I'll do is I'll set up the triangle first. So imagine what your triangle looks like without your head in your hands. Then you can bring the head down to the mat and your weight will actually be a bit further forward on the forehead, or not on the forehead, on the head. So it'll be like, I'll demo quick, about this direction. So your head will actually be, you'll be balancing a little bit more here. Now the goal is to have as little weight in the head as possible. Like however little is fantastic because we're pushing the forearms up into the mat, right? So essentially your head is there, but the strength comes from the arms. So you'll create the triangle, bring that part of the head to the mat, push into the forearms first. Sorry, my necklace is in my mouth and I'm going to choke myself. Okay. Push into the forearms, pinkies push into the mat, then lift the hips up. For me, I kind of sometimes like to prepare with a basket in the back of my head. So what you'll do is you'll just go 1, 2, 1, 2, while you keep pushing the forearms into the mat as strong as you can. So really big push. Then once that starts to feel comfortable, you might lock the hands a little bit more. Start to push the forearms, 1, 2, and you'll hold here. Now, if you can see, I probably can't in the camera, but my lats are lengthening. The side body is super strong. And then maybe I'll lift, helps to lift both feet together. The thing we cued is the abductor. So legs squeeze in, flex. The feet are point, squeeze the legs into the midline, core in and up. Last but not least, maybe you can push into the forearm so much you're light into the head, hold, and breathe. You'll come out same way you came in with control and eventually step the feet down. If you would like to come to a wall, you're welcome to come to a wall for safety so you don't fly over the backside. If you're doing this not live, you can really take a pause and try to work on that. I'm going to show the head placement or the hand placement once more, because for me, I like to have pinkies pushing into the mat, elbows in, thumbs can be down into the back of the head as you extend. Remember, elbows into the side, right? So everybody just work on pushing up, lengthening the spine, push the head into the hands and hold. Keep pulling the belly in, right? Because a huge part of headstand is belly in, breath in, and exhale. Release, hands by your sides. So if you have any desire to try the headstand, you can by all means try it. But I think one of the coolest things is that we can work on headstand without even going upside down, right? It's a much safer way to work on it. We keep our spine safe, we keep our body safe, and you know where to build from here. So if you are done trying, you can come out. If you are ready to give it a shot, you can go in. I'm not sure where everybody's at. I'm going to take a look on the camera and see what people are doing. Okay, so we've got people trying. So give it a shot, see what happens. And remember, you might just work on dolphin would be a good option too as well. Bringing the head down to the mat with the hands on the back of the head and just feeling that alignment as you push the forearms into the mat. Pinkies connect into the mat. A huge pro tip is to walk your toes as close as you can get towards your body, and then you'll pull one knee into your chest. So Brinkley, keep walking your hips over your shoulders, closer and closer. And then try to draw the knee into the chest. Same thing. Looks good, team. And Megan, if you wanted to take your elbows a little narrower, you might find that you have more stability. Take a break when you've had enough. Breath in. If you want to take one more round, you can. It's up to you. I'm not going to stop anyone too soon if you want to give it one more shot. And then remember, those of you who aren't doing it, right? Thinking about lengthening and just hugging in. This is a workout in itself to squeeze in and up, squeeze the elbows in, squeeze the core in, lift through the body. And Megan, bring the knee into the chest rather than kicking up. Yeah, so you'll try to lean both knees until knees can come into center and you balance with the knees into center. It's all right, we can work on it more. Good job, team. Very proud of you. I know it's not easy. Headstand is a crazy pose. And the main thing is that I want you to do it safely, right? Which is why we cue so much of this, because putting a lot of pressure on the top of the head, which sometimes we do in yoga, for me really compresses the cervical spine and it feels like shit, if we're being honest. So the goal is to lift up, extend through the spine, and have that time to play. And a friendly reminder, if you feel frustrated, acknowledge that. And also remember that I've been doing yoga for, I don't even know how many years, over a decade at this point, right? So headstand is a very long journey to finding yourself on your head. And that is the joy of it. There's always something to learn. Let us come down to our backs. Time to, I'm going a little over time today because we got so excited and it was such a cool pose. It was great to see everybody doing it. Lay down on your back. And then let's take the knees together, 90-degree bend, press your palms down onto the ground by your sides in a big T shape, and then take the knees over to the left side. Gaze over to your right. Roll your right shoulder down onto the mat and just relax the spine. Breath in. And out. Again, inhale. Where can you relax? Where are you hanging on, right? Where are you clenching? And out. Once more, inhale. And then press your palms into the mat. Exhale your way to center. And then take the hips over to the right side. Twist over to the right. Gaze to the left. Focus on keeping the left shoulder heavy. Shut the eyes down, breath in. And out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale back to center. Even out the hips. Let's come to a happy baby. Reach through the inside of the knees. So listen carefully as I cue this. You're going to reach through the inside of the legs. So the legs are on the outside of the arms, right? Grab for the outside edges of your feet. So your shoulders will be able to pull down and back as you pull the knees in towards the triceps, down kind of towards the outside edges of your armpits. Breath in. Option to wiggle side to side or stay straight. Breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Once more. Breath in. And exhale, bring the knees to center. Wrap the arms around your shins. Hug yourself into a little ball. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe lift the head and neck up off the mat and hold. Inhale. And then exhale, release down into Shavasana. If there is anything else you need to do to finish your practice, any other movements you would like to take before Shavasana, by all means take them. Especially if you aren't joining live, you can pause the video. And then let your toes fall out. Your heels are in. Maybe just wiggle your body a little bit to make sure you're not holding on to any tension, right? Let your eyes close, your jaw relax. Deep breath in and out. So today, when we moved into a very challenging pose, before you come to Shavasana, just briefly reflect on how you approached it. And there are a lot of poses in yoga that even are not accessible to me, right? So how, when you had this opportunity or when you were faced with this thing, how did you feel? And maybe you felt fantastic. Great. But if you felt any self-doubt or frustration creep up during today's class, I would like to share my one little tip with you that I've been using. And it's that I tell my brain, we're not doing that. I literally say, we're not doing that anymore. No, we're not doing that. And what that does is it cuts off the thought before it can get a little bit deeper, before it can say, I can't. You just say, we're not doing that. We are going to be curious, right? Because the more we are curious, the more we are able to celebrate the little wins, the little victories in life. Instead of seeing all the things we can't do, we see things that we are curious about and things that we do well. One more gentle inhale. And Shavasana. If you would like to stay in Shavasana, by all means, please stay. Relax. But if you are ready to move out of your practice, you can do so by wiggling your fingers, your toes, inviting movement into the arms and legs. And then eventually you might rock your head side to side. Reach your arms up above your head. Take a big morning stretch. Your second time waking up today. And then you can draw one knee into the chest and the other. Roll over onto your favorite side using your arm as a pillow in fetal pose. So this posture is our posture of rebirth, right? As you push up out of fetal pose, you move out of your practice and into your day with more strength, more patience, a little bit of a shift. When you're ready, come to a seated meditation in any shape, legs crossed, maybe legs extended out in front of you. And then hands can either come together at heart center in prayer or maybe two hands over the heart if that feels better for you. Something to signify the sealing of the practice. Inhale. Exhale, bow your chin in gratitude. And on this theme for today, I would like you to think one awesome, kind thing about yourself because you are awesome. Breath in and out. Inhale, lift your head back up. Blink your eyes open. Get reacquainted with your space. Thank you all. Fantastic work. If you have any questions, please let me know. Send me an email, send me a text, social media. For those of you who are here live, if you want to stay and chat about headstand for a little bit, if you have any questions or even just about anything in yoga, I'm happy to chat. So thank you all. Fantastic work. As a heads up, next week you are going to get an email with the Sweat Club that will be a video rather than a live recording because I'm going to be camping. So keep an eye out for that. I will put that in the email just to remind you as well. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Bye.